Welcome, everyone, to San Antonio by Night's Aftermath, Season 3, Episode 5. Our Iconoclasts have been working diligently to try and lure out the La Sombra, known as Jude Walker. One of the ways in which they have hoped to lure him out is by Noel embracing young Noah into the Banu Hakim of San Antonio, one of the few members of the Anarch Banu Hakim. And now, the Iconoclasts have one more mouth to feed. And that may put some strain on them, may put some strain on the neighborhood. As the number of mouths grow, the odds of feeding on someone that they care about increases, and thus may have to decide what to do about that going forward. They may have to expand their domain. They may have to beg Marjani for more land. All of this, something that's, I'm sure we'll get to. But for now, our Iconoclasts are day sleeping. Faust, you have maybe some plans for tonight. Are there any scenarios going on in your head as you day sleep that you dread?
Lots of things can go wrong, frankly. Since my experiences with Mr. Moore, the idea of embrace itself is troubling. And I'm reminded of the shock and the extremes that I was brought into. Dallas, well, frankly speaking, Dallas, Texas was a place of extremes. It was civil warfare between Camarilla and Anarch. Therefore, my embrace itself equally is extreme of an experience. Eugene brought me into the shock, introduced it to me very early on so that I would understand just what precisely I had been brought into. Survival. And that's the intention. I suppose that's largely my purpose. I suppose that's largely what I was embraced for. Yet, always am I craving more than that. Not just survival, but thriving. To not be seen as some underdog. I don't want to be the underdog anymore. I'm tired of that narrative. And I think it's fair to say that the narrative is tired of the Iconoclasts as well. And yet we find ourselves scrounging continuously. The main thing that came across my mind is that we need to establish ourselves as worth more, to have value, to have placement, to have necessity in this city. So as it stands, expansion is what it's looking like. We can't do that without ties, allegiances. We can't do it without domain. But we're not going to just be handed out territory. Ultimately, we're going to have to reach for it.
You may have to fight for it.
Very likely. But, as it's said by Sun Tzu, if you have to draw out the weapon, you've already lost the battle. Win it before any weapon is ever drawn. Your plan's as impenetrable as night, and your strike as devastating as lightning.
Very interesting words. I'm sure that the art of war was something you were taught very keenly back in Dallas, since your embrace was one of necessity. But then there's Brian, also from Dallas, whose embrace may have been as flippant an ordeal, maybe as some kind of distraction. You're also facing the idea that there's another mouth to feed in this domain.
Don't know why it had to be turned. Seems it would have been simpler just to let Maria have him. But hell, just let me go ahead and end him now. If Jude has so little care for somebody that was so close, then what's the point in keeping him around? I don't understand most of what he does. Everybody seems to always be running off. It's Velda. That makes sense.
And tonight is just like any other night, it seems, as there's perhaps something that Ray and Noel are getting up to tonight, and with Noel stepping away for a little bit, the question pops into your mind: what's stopping you from killing Noah? You're more powerful than he is. You're older than he is. Perhaps this is a scenario that you've been running in your mind since kindred don't dream, they simply go immobile. And then there's Maria, the most terrifying, possibly, of the coterie when it comes to scaring little Noah. What's your take on all of this?
Honestly, it's pretty simple. Dig myself in. I now have Sammy. That's enough to start. Between Sammy and Nicole, girls are here sticking together, we're good. Right now, as it stands, trying to end up figuring out what Noel and Faust are really up to. Then again, I've never been the... Well, one day I end up looking at things on the wide picture. I'm more worried about the here and now. The here and now says blood, shelter, and enough for here security to end up making sure that I don't have to worry about what the neighbors are doing. Seems like everything ends up going south the moment that I end up deciding to end up stepping off the domain. The way they're looking at me now, it's irritating. I don't know. Like, I'm quite aware something has changed. Feel stronger. Feel like I can do anything.
But Ray has more than once expressed her concern for you.
Yeah, I see the way she looks at me. And it doesn't help none that Brian is... I have a fancy word for it. Yeah, in Anarch territory, but let's just be honest what it is. He cannibalized me. He's big enough to do it. I know he hits hard enough to do it. So I gotta be wary. Never forget on just how dangerous he is.
How
And then I
dangerous
got
they
a-
all are.
Noel took a chunk out of me already. Lord knows what Faust has up his sleeve. Ray, well, she's a whole bag of hammers, that one. I have my eyes out. A little place outward. I need to end up seeing on what it... Well, if it's possible. Like I said, I want to end up making it very clear that I end up having a castle to call my own. A place that's fortified, a place that, if everything goes to hell, I don't have to worry about it none. Like a squirrel packs away acorns for hibernation. Still thinking about it. But I'm thinking hard about it.
Little hidey hole, little rainy day fund, whatever you want to call it. But as the sun sets on the Alamo City, monsters awake. And I would like you to make rouse checks.
Success.
Seems like everyone is satiated for the moment, at least temporarily, as the beast doesn't make a fuss waking up this evening. Faust and Brian and Noah likely being the first to arise.
Seeing him in the middle of the room, I'm thinking to myself, how often it's been I try and run away from these things. Kept my distance because I don't believe Mr. Walker will last very long. By the sheer distance of who he is, what he was connected to, I get the sense that inevitably he will either be bait, eaten, or simply destroyed himself. Might turn on us, but, well, suppose it's my turn to try and see if I can find a reason for him not to. Maybe I can give him some answers myself. So I greet him. Mr. Walker, good evening.
Good evening.
How are you faring with it? Waking up in the evenings from the rigor mortis, I suppose.
It was kind of hard to figure out, if I'm honest. But I managed it, I guess.
Let's see. How has things been going with you and Mr. Stoneford lately?
He said he had to go out.
I see.
He only just left, so...
Well, if you happen to not have any additional plans yourself this evening, I'd like you to accompany me.
I don't really have a choice in the matter, so...
You're right.
So what use is it that I'm gonna argue?
Well, everyone's got an opinion at the very least.
Oh yeah. The redhead made it very clear that she's not gonna let me go. So...
Really? And how did she figure that? Tell me about it.
She
How's
didn't
your
say-
time with Miss?
She's fucking scary. In fact, I probably should be just as scared of you, and just as scared of him, he looks over to Brian, as I am of her. So, you know, like I said, I don't have a choice if I want to just make it through this. If I want to try and help Jude.
Is that what you want? Can I... What is his breed on it? Is he purely scared right now, or is he more just...
You can insight check him, but he's definitely looking like he's hunched over, like he's cowering. But his exact emotional state, that's an insight check.
Okay. I'll go for it.
Wits and insight.
I'm testing a new thing. I'm gonna try and listen.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
What's insight? What is Noah feeling right now? That didn't roll. Let me fuck with the API. Let's submit. What? Excuse me.
Do you have the API turned on or turned off?
Turned off. Let me try turning it on.
Yeah, try turning it on. Because your rouse check worked.
It did. I'm gonna refresh.
Yeah, try refreshing. I'll roll it for you in the meantime.
Cool.
Ooh, looks like you're pretty good at this, mister.
I am, I just don't ever utilize it.
It did not roll. I'm turning it off again. Technical difficulties.
Woo!
Woo!
Everything on time fast is just like,
Maybe it's on my end. I don't know. Okay.
Is it not going, Captain?
It's not going, Captain. Hang on. Okay,
the
we
frick
may
was
have
that?
to bust out our real dice, my friends, because Roll20 might be bugged out.
I don't have
Oh,
real dice. Let me at least count the dots. That's 1, 2, 3.
If it's still gonna give us per trouble, then I'm probably just gonna have you take half. Then take half would be 3 successes.
Okay. Well,
Derek, would you make me a test roll using Maria's sheet?
yeah, sure, not a problem.
Because I think even the sheets that I'm using, for some reason, are bugged out. So I may have to bust out my veil dice.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Nope.
Oh,
Well,
we're all.
womp
Okay.
womp.
Give me one
Alright.
second. I'm gonna go grab my other dice.
Okay.
Something went.
Just this
Something
way,
went.
I got hunger
it's
dice
one
as
for
well.
Noel.
Okay.
Noah's works.
Noah's
How's he
works. I don't know why yours don't. So, yeah. Do you have D6s or do you have D10s?
Oh, there we go.
Okay.
Fixed it.
5. Sweet. Okay. Well, I'm grabbing my real dice in the event that we
Okay.
need this here. But you take a look at him. His cowering position kind of says it all. He is frightened. He doesn't want to make any of you mad. He doesn't want anyone to have any reason to come after him. He is being sincere and honest in saying that helping get Jude out of that situation seems like his top priority.
Brian puts a hand on Noel's shoulder.
And he
Afraid
flinches.
of her. What are you so afraid of, boy?
You're all fucking monsters.
So are you.
It doesn't make any goddamn like a difference, does it?
Not quite. However, all the more reason why I want to bring you along. I want to show you how we cannot be monsters. At least have some semblance of humanity in what we do and what we are.
And I'm supposed to believe that.
Yes, you are. Don't want to hurt you. Nobody in this coterie wants to hurt you.
That's a fucking lie. She wants to hurt me. You see him look over to Maria as she's coming down the stairs from her room.
It ain't just you, boy. He wants to hurt everybody right now.
Rather than that, the important part that we want to be able to teach you is how to not become someone who does hurt everybody. For no rhyme or reason. For better or worse. Yes, we're all monsters. But that doesn't mean we have to act monstrous. So, with that, is there anyone who cares to join me tonight? What is our game plans for the evening?
Within rounds, I have none. What did you have in mind, Faust?
I want to introduce the kid to Miss Kalu, for one. I believe we have some degree of obligation to do so.
Indeed.
Second, suppose I was wanting to check in on you as well, Bryant.
Caught an eyebrow.
Make sure you're satisfied at the moment, and help try and relay some better conversation, ground plans for what I would like to do with the domain. I admit, going too far into the human trafficking bit could be... it's not savory. But there are certain things that we do need to coordinate if we want to make this place favorable for ourselves and potentially an asset to the city at large. Settle ourselves.
There are ways to do that without trafficking in human.
I agree. Entirely. Though it does pay to know probability and suspicion that we might already have a circulatory system within the neighborhoods. Something to look into.
Maria, what's on your mind this evening?
Derek?
I didn't hear any prompt.
Oh, she was asking. Brian was asking Maria what's on her mind.
Well, outside of the usual, getting through night to night, it's not like as if we're just swimming in here luxury right now. More importantly, I have no interest on losing myself to another impulse control problem that might arise because I am not feeding properly. I don't need much. Just to have food, shelter, and high ground.
And of those, what do you plan to do tonight?
Haven't figured it out yet. Honestly, I'm just tired.
I don't blame you. If it's all the same, maybe tonight, spend your time and resources into, grounding yourself.
Kind of looks at you with this. It's a calculated look. It's something that ends up as saying that maybe she doesn't fully understand what you're getting, or maybe curious what you're implying.
Haven't quite been too much yourself lately. I notice you seem to have some sort of event of startling nature whenever you leave the domain in question.
Well, My kind don't do well going outside of their own backyard, so I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe that's part of it. Maybe we just don't. Maybe we're homebodies. Maybe we're local folk. Maybe I just want to end up knowing that once I can end up doing what it is that I want. That's not what I'm allowed to do. No. I gotta end up considering, okay, how we gonna deal with Jude? How do I end up getting y'all the pieces you need? Gave you every opportunity I could. And look how that turned out. Looks over at Noah. But I get my place in this pecking order. I'll do so continually without complaint. Because he's, like you said, Faust, it needs to be done.
Indeed. Suppose it's my apologies then.
It's never your apology I needed. She looks over at Noah.
What?
You hungry?
I'm alright for now.
You
Noel told
need
me
anything other than an escape route?
I don't know what you're getting at.
Simple question outside of here's the directions in order to end up escaping your current predicament. Do you need anything?
Not particularly.
When it shows up, let me know.
Okay.
I'm sure Faust and Brian here will fill you in.
Yeah, Noel's been doing that too.
Sure, he's been doing fantastically. After all, your vamp daddy has been around.
Vamp
Sire.
Daddy. Right. Okay. Yeah, the way you put it just made it sound really weird.
That's the weirdest thing that happens to you this evening, then consider that a luxury.
Do weird things happen a lot?
You're already a weird
I mean, I suppose I'll give you
Still
that one.
walking and talking. Still walking and talking, Noah. Don't you consider that to be a bit weird?
Yes
No,
and no.
Not a lot of people talk to corpses, and even fewer have the corpse respond.
Yeah, that part's the weird part.
So like I said,
The
We
walking and
just call it
talking bit just seems normal.
you know it's a better question than that.
Just
Still,
dead.
go ahead.
Sorry. Kind of makes you forget that you're dead inside.
Right. Okay.
Oh, here's one for you. Wrap your brain around this one because I'm still figuring it out. You're not breathing. So how are you talking? Your lungs ain't taking in air, but the very act of talking means you are pushing air through a set of vocal cords, causing them to vibrate, which sails the sounds out your mouth. But one of those functions ain't existing. Your vocal cords have completely atrophied. They're dead. So how you talking?
That's that's a very good question.
Fantastic. You find the answer to that one, let me know. She starts walking to the basement. She's going to grab some tools and get to work on the truck. She hasn't really done so since that before Veronica bit the big one and then got.
And Nicole, having kind of set up a sort of home down in the basement, kind of just looks up at you as you're gathering your tools. Do you need any help?
Yeah, I can use it.
Okay. And she follows you like a puppy out to the truck to assist you with whatever you need. In the meantime, Brian and Faust, what are you doing?
Well, frankly speaking, wanted to have a moment with the kid. Show him the ropes by different means.
He just kind of watches as Maria leaves out the door for a moment.
Brian? Would you like to
I
come?
was just sitting there taking everything in.
Would you like to come with?
Yeah. I believe I would.
Excellent. Let's make some rounds around the domain. Show the kid around town.
I mean, I kind of know the city already. I don't necessarily need a tour.
You do need to understand what's yours and where you can freely hunt if it has not been explained to you.
From what I understand, I don't freely hunt anywhere. I do when you tell me to.
That's just for now.
Where you tell me to. So, I'm not gonna make a big push out of it. Because I'm a prisoner here. I know that.
Good. You understand pecking order, at least. So then, you have hunted before.
Yeah, Noel's taken me.
Good. And I suppose at this point, Miss Higgs has shown you her talents.
I'm just trying to keep my head down, guy. I'm not here to make a fuss. You want to drag me someplace?
I understand that, Mr. Walker. But I'm asking you what you know so far, so that I know what needs to be said and done still. Mr. Stoneford is indisposed tonight, so I'm taking charge.
I'm just going to observe, I guess.
Well, observing is all well and good. It's its place. Come on. Let's go out and have a bit of a chat. Take to the streets.
Okay.
So, Mojo, do you have an idea of where we take him?
Well, he does need to have an idea of the extent of our domain beyond that.
That's true.
Don't really have any specific plans. Need to hunt.
So, we have a couple things we can work with. We have Parvenu Network Solutions. Can show him where that is. We can talk to him about important people, the necessity of humans, vampiric life, along with the necessity of the mask. We can figure out what he's good at. I think what would be good is to also give him an idea of where he can go. So, like, that's where I'm listing out places. There's also, so out of the places, we have my work, we have, the church, which is kind of outside of our domain, so I'm not going to suggest going to that. We have the park, we have the diner, we have the shelter.
I suppose what I should ask you as the ST is, what is your intent behind this?
Well, part of it is to find out what he's good at, where he can go, that we can allocate him an idea of how to start constructing a mask for the masquerade.
Okay.
He can't be, he can't necessarily be Noah Watt anymore. I mean, he can. He still has a little privilege in that.
He doesn't need to give that up just yet.
Yeah.
Just an idea of what he needs. Forward.
He needs a mask.
It's not going to last forever.
Yep, he needs a mask first and foremost, and he needs an idea of, how he can start benefiting to us, essentially.
Okay. He would sheepishly tell you that he's athletic, that he's good with technology, and that's what he's been studying. And you suppose that with the when he starts gaining a little confidence, that he's a bit charismatic. He's not overly so, but he's a bit charismatic. But the thing that you kind of get the sense of is he's not willing to give up on Jude yet.
No, I don't think he will be.
And that's just based on looking him over, and based on what he's said to you so far.
And has the strong suspicion that that's going to break him when it finally crosses his mind what's going to happen.
What may happen? What may happen? We don't have guarantees yet.
So in walking the domain, getting him a sense of your borders as it stands, and where he's expected to be, and what he's expected to maybe do through the domain, is definitely instilling in him that should he decide to leave without your consent, he's certain that Maria's going to come for him. In fact, she's explicitly said so. So
Ghost backs that up.
So he's not looking to go anywhere that he isn't told to go.
Good. Okay. I back that up through and through.
That I would like you to make me a charisma plus intimidation.
I'm not trying to intimidate him.
No, but you're trying to back up what it is that Maria has said to instill a little more fear into him still. Yes?
It's not so much, no, it's just that. Faust is just saying out, flat out. If Maria does that, I'm not going to stop her. I stand behind that. That is the truth. Because right now, we're not just guardians, we're your wardens.
Okay. I would still like an intimidation check from you, though.
Okay.
Give you a bonus with Brian standing right beside you.
I'm really not trying to intimidate this kid.
Well, it's not so much that you're trying to browbeat him, you're trying to instill in him that that is the truth. It's not a persuasion, it's still an intimidation.
All right. Okay, I'll take the bonus then.
You get the sense that he's heard you. You're not sure 100% if he believes you, but he's heard you. He definitely seems to believe Maria. You, that's a little questionable. But you spend the next few hours kind of showing him the domain, instilling in him the idea that he is in fact their prisoner, and he tells you what he's good at.
Okay. Next comes the mask and the masquerade. Has Noel talked to him about that one?
Since he's only 3 days old, you get the sense no. That's something that Noel hasn't touched on yet. That the need for a mask is not nearly as important as the masquerade. The keeping quiet of his condition now is paramount. And that should anyone, not just you all, but anyone find out that he's blabbed to someone about his nature now, that he will die.
Yeah.
So if he wants to survive, he has to keep quiet.
Okay. And I guess the last thing is, have we checked up on him about touchstones?
Noel has expressed that importance, yes.
Okay. After everything is certain on that, House looks over to Noah and asks fair and simple, what skills outside of human means do you happen to have? What are your disciplines?
Like powers?
Yeah.
I haven't really explored that very much. I haven't had a chance to, so Noel seems to think that, I might make a decent fighter or something. I don't know.
Potentially. If I remember right, those of your clan, Banu Hakim, or if you want to piss off Noel a bit, the Banu Hakim.
Maria did say that one, yeah.
Are a clan of assassins. It's an old, flippant name. It was once used for them, Asamite. We don't use that term anymore. It's a little derogatory in these days.
Yeah,
But
what is it that you want me to do right now?
I'm curious.
About what?
I want to see what you can do. Now, provided it's a careful balance and a careful line of what is to be done, what can be done, and how often it is that our monstrous nature tends to take over any of our intentions that we have. What I mean by that is very specifically, sometimes you lose control.
Yeah, I've been told about that one.
Good. All the same. ST.
Mm-hmm.
Shit, do I even have a cult?
Do you?
Ugh. I don't know if I do. I have none.
No, you have basic kindred knowledge, and that's about it.
So I wouldn't know what the disciplines are for Banu Hakim at all.
No.
Hmm.
You've never met a Banu Hakim before running into Dole, really. You're not even sure what he's capable of.
As hell.
Sorry, what was that?
And I know they're fast as hell.
It's true. So, given the circumstance, Brian, I intend to slake my dues tonight, quench my thirst. I can divvy up in return. If you could wager is a bit of a test subject for us. We're gonna see what the kid. I'd like to see what the kid can do. You in?
He's awfully young, but it never hurts to find out what someone's capable of.
Like, Noel hasn't even told me about any of that, so I don't...
There are some basic powers. And at this point, ST, I would have probably taken Noah to... Actually, no. I'd like to do a test to see where Faust would think Noah would be a best fit to start practicing and building up an area to feed. I want to say, since Ray has intentions for possibly the diner, that one's a little bit on the iffy side, but we'll give it a test. I think, actually, yeah, between the park and the diner, where do you think?
More likely to find folks at the diner than we are in the park at this time of evening.
It's true. We are more likely to find folks in the diner. However, there's a lack of people in the park at this time. I'd like to take advantage of that while we do some tests. And then we migrate to the diner.
Okay.
And that's with the intentions of figuring out what disciplines he has?
Mm-hmm.
You both would know, given how young he is, he hasn't had a chance to figure that out yet. And you, as young kindred, didn't really figure out your natural inclinations probably until after the first week or two.
Well, here
It's
we are.
not that they magically appeared on you. It's more that you kind of tested something, and that's what worked, based on the knowledge that your sires gave you.
So we're testing.
Are there any solid objects than the pavement beneath our feet?
As far as something that you could throw, punch.
Pole
I mean, there's trees, there's lampposts, there's benches, there's a whole bunch of things at the park.
Something that wouldn't look too terribly amiss if it wound up mangled. I'm sure street lamps and signposts are.
There's plenty of those things. So if you're looking for something like that, I would want a wits investigation.
Boy. Let's see. Well, I have. Let's see.
And given how much this particular park has, how much activity this particular park has seen, this is going to be a pretty high difficulty.
That's 6.
Ooh. Well, you find something that's out of the way. It already looks kind of bent out of shape. So what's a little bit more? It's a lamppost that has a big ding in it. Maybe from a car that ran into it? You can't be certain, but it's gone unnoticed so far.
Oh well. Here we go. Yeah, let's put another dent on the opposite side.
Okay. Are you having Noah do this?
Well, I am. And wants to demonstrate one of the things he's capable of to Noah.
Okay. Then I would like... Are you trying to do this subtly, or are you trying to just beat the shit out of this thing?
No, I'm trying to put some kind of damage on it without destroying it.
Okay. Then that is going to be a composure brawl.
Composure brawl. Oh boy.
You're trying to pull it off that it's not something out of the ordinary. And the lower successes is actually better. Because that's less damage to the actual object.
Yeah. Oh. Come back here. Alrighty. Oh boy. Yeah, I'm gonna spend a willpower.
Okay. How many do you have so far?
Let's see.
Did you
If
crit?
I don't spend the willpower, that's a critical success.
Just
I
boosh.
have a 10 on the hunger dice and an 8 with a 10 on another dice. So, and
Just
they're
leave a
all
crater.
successes. So I've got to re-roll the other 3 and see if I can bring that down to just the 2.
Okay.
Come on, Brian, you can fail.
I'm trying.
We're aiming for less damage here, yes.
Yes. That just leaves the 2 on the hunger.
Okay. So 2 successes.
GG.
2 instead of 8.
Christ.
That is officially the weirdest use of willpower I have heard in a long time.
Yes, I make this a very strange game, everyone.
I'm
So,
into it.
you are able to do a ding in the lamppost, and it's a pretty solid metal. It's not that you're it's no slouch that you're able to put a dent in this thing, because the last thing that did was probably a car. No, you at first you feel like, oh yeah, I'm winding up. I'm gonna really give this thing a really good solid thing, and then you're like, and you hold it back just in the nick of time to not completely destroy the thing, but give it enough of a solid thunk that it echoes a bit, and Noah is just standing there aghast.
Now, imagine if he didn't hold back, it'd probably leave a crater where the entire lamppost was.
And do you think I shouldn't be scared of all of you? The fuck?
Love, so that you have less fear.
Look, I'm just happy not pissing any of you off.
We have some years on you. But that isn't to say you're not capable of these kinds of things in your own time as well.
God.
That's what we need to find out. Is what it is that you are capable of and what you can hone.
Look, Noel hasn't even really said, and so I don't even know the first thing about what I should try.
Hey. Faust just gently puts a hand on his shoulder. We're not trying to hurt you right now.
Right now.
But
You could.
haven't given us a reason. And any person could hurt another.
And quirks an eye and gestures to the lamppost. Very easily
So,
want to know what you're capable of.
Look,
Are you as quick as your sire?
I don't know.
I want to find out.
hey,
What?
we just... Mr. Walker. No harm will come to you tonight. You have my oath on that.
What? What? He starts to back up a little bit. What do you intend to do?
I activate awe. And I explain it again. You are a supernatural being yourself. What we're trying to do right now is demonstrate the different abilities that undead things have so that we can get an idea and read on what you can do by comparison. But to do that, first and foremost, I need you to center yourself.
Center myself?
That's correct.
Meaning what?
Find some composure. You are in far more control than what you believe.
I have yet to be demonstrated that.
Did you ever practice any meditation while before you became one of us?
Not particularly. Never been that kind of an athlete. Not really into yoga. It's more of a runner.
When you're running long distances, is there something you do in your head to keep you focused and keep you running?
The goal.
Then let's focus on this goal.
Like, where am I running to?
Let's do a hypothetical. Faust points to the other side of the park. Let's see if you can... Rather, how quick it is you can get to that end of the park and back. It's just about a block. And on your way back, not to startle you, but I'll throw a rock at you. And I want to see your reaction time to that. And I want you to take note that the more that you understand of yourself, closer you are to understanding what Jude is. Keep that goal in mind.
Okay.
Give it a go, Mr. Walker.
And he makes a dash. So he's going to make a stamina athletics.
Okay.
And then he is
He's quick.
you're gonna throw a rock.
Yep. Faust is weak sauce, so
That would be a strength or dexterity and athletics. And he is
Alright.
going to use dexterity athletics to dodge.
okay. I want to make a note, ST. I'm not throwing it at him to hurt him.
Okay.
I'm throwing it, just a small rock, shouldn't hurt him.
Just enough to leave a welt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe to thunk him, but not actually damage him.
I'm gonna Charlie horse.
Fuck!
Oh. Okay, this kid is quick as fuck. Zoom, zoom.
You get the distinct impression that that was not necessarily... Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was discipline fueled. But you know that throwing a rock isn't nearly the same as shooting a gun.
It's not.
But it seems that he deftly, without losing any balance, sees the rock coming and is able to quickly dodge out of the way.
I imagine he even caught it.
Might have.
It was like way over his shoulder and he just not even looking at it.
Not that he was really trying to catch it, but he dodged out of the way.
Man. Faust looks over to Brian. What do you make of that?
Nimble, but not as impressive as what Noel did in the basement.
Would that be an occult roll?
It would be an occult roll.
Yep.
What's
I don't
occult?
have a.
It's a cult.
No, I'm asking, is it what's occult? So we're putting things together?
Yeah, it would be.
That's why I'm asking.
Yeah.
Want to know what I should be doing to figure this out.
Yeah, wits
So
occult.
That is
Okay.
4 dice pool with 2 hunger.
Wait, why are you rolling, Derek?
Oh, never mind. I
Yeah.
misinterpreted. Never
No,
mind.
you're not present.
Maria didn't say she wanted to come.
Maria just ended up saying, I'm going to work on the truck till you guys made plans. All of a sudden, you made plans. It's like, all right.
Yeah, they kind of left her
I thought
behind.
Maria was coming with us, but I don't know.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, Maria didn't announce she was present. I didn't put her on the scene, so.
Sorry.
That is 4 successes.
Surprisingly, upon looking at him, Brian, you suspect that his balance is pretty top notch. Like parkouring over some of those obstacles, he was doing it like he'd been doing it for years. Maybe it's supernaturally fueled. You can't really be sure.
Does it seem on par with what I saw from Noel in the basement?
As far as
The ability-
Noel's dodge ability, you would say comparable. Now, whether that's his natural gift or whether that's supernaturally fueled, you're not 100% on, but you have a feeling that maybe that's something there.
Before he gets back, I'll share that. Faust.
On his feet. Steady, too.
It's very certainty, but it does appear that he has some of those reflexes Mr. Wolford was talking about.
Indeed he does. So I suppose now it's just trying to understand what else we can pull out of it. And upon Noah getting back, Faust gives him a nod. Good job, Mr. Walker. It's very informative. You seem very steady on your feet.
Like I said, kind of a track runner. Hurdles and 100-meter dash were my thing. Before the accident, anyway.
Or
Accident.
the accident?
Yeah, I got in a car wreck one night. Banged me up pretty bad. Hadn't been able to really compete the same way I had since. Not being able to breathe nearly as well as I used to.
How long ago was that?
Less than a year.
Glad you made a speedy recovery.
Yeah, me too. Honestly, I should still be in rehab about this time.
Interesting.
Weren't you?
I was only in rehab for several months. Only in intensive care for a month.
You shouldn't even be walking.
No,
right now.
no, I shouldn't be walking the way that the doctors say that the X-rays came out.
Now, I wonder if maybe that just comes down to good genetics or something
And look
else.
at it fast.
Hmm?
Brian just turns to Faust.
Well, during your time in the hospital, you happen to have
Any what?
unusual visitors.
There was one time I was kind of fading in and out, like really soon after the accident. I think I heard Jude's voice, and I think I saw an angel.
An angel.
You know, like the angel of death.
That's rather specific. I don't think I've ever seen an angel of death myself, considering I wouldn't put it past given everything that we've seen and have been.
I've always kind of thought that they were real. And that just kind of proved it.
What did this angel look like?
I don't know. I couldn't see. My eyes were swollen shut.
Be interesting if it was something more biblical. Perhaps something shadowy.
I don't know. I couldn't see. I was kind of fading in and out of consciousness due to, like, painkillers.
Certainly.
Did you hear? You couldn't see.
Like I said, I heard Jude's voice, like, muffled. Quiet. It was really quiet. But Jude came to see me nearly every day. And then came to visit me at night most nights.
How sweet.
How
Sincere
soon
devotion.
after your visitation from this angel will recovery take a rapid uptick?
I don't know what any of it means. Maybe I was blessed or something.
Didn't ask what it meant. I asked, soon after visitation did your recovery take this miraculous turn your doctors say should not happen?
It was maybe hours after the accident, I don't know.
You don't know how long you were in and out of this type state?
Not really. Not after surgery.
How long were you in the hospital?
A month. Maybe 2.
Well, I have a sneaking suspicion. I don't think it was an angel you saw. You have to remember what we are, after all.
Then what else would it have been?
What is Jude? What are you? What is so conveniently close to death?
A vampire?
Ding, ding, ding.
Symbolism is strong within our kind. I think it falls on sort of a societal thing that we try and accrue and create code in order to get by. It's part of the whole masquerade bit. You never talk on the phone about what you are, so how do you get across ideas? You never show your face. You're not supposed to exist. How do you get around? If not by some means of invisibility.
Mhm.
I'm wondering if maybe the ultimatum, perhaps the crash itself was orchestrated by your angel.
That's absurd.
Not quite. There are some of our kind that in order to best create a flavor, there has to be a means for that flavor to exist. Flavor in the blood. Cause pain, cause suffering. And for others, sometimes to establish and conceptualize perfect lineage. Far worse is performed. Grooming. Tragedy. While it isn't every one of our kind's methods to do so, I've heard many things of Jude's particular clan that does. A few stories about the ruthlessness.
So you think that my crash was an intentional thing to get at Jude?
I don't discount it.
Well, that settles it then, right? He was coerced.
Very likely.
Then we can get him out of it, right?
That's the hope, but the next problem, the next concern, that some of our kind are very, very good at brainwashing.
Brainwashing.
Isolation.
Isolation, abuse. The La Sombra, as Jude's clan is called, are known as nihilists. And the inevitable end of all things is what they specialize in. The void, the abyss, nothingness, and no ties to be had. My concern in this scenario is Jude might have already begun walking that path.
Then we have to get him out of it. I'll do whatever it takes to find him.
In due time. As of this moment, Mr. Walker,
I don't want to hurt him.
there's one way we can get this done. We need to get at Angel. The angel that you've seen. The one who embraced Jude.
The one who
Maybe.
took him from me.
Correct. And perhaps we can undo the damage that's been done. But in the meantime,
I
You're
doubt
still-
we can undo it, but maybe mitigate it a little.
Brian, I think there is a way we can do it. I do.
I just want him back.
I know. For now, Mr. Walker, you're young. You're still learning. You don't know what you're quite capable of, and for that reason, we need to build you, teach you what it all means, what you can do. We need to make sure that you are capable of making that confrontation should it occur, when it does. Understand, more than anything, this is my goal too.
Okay.
I can train you how to fight. Defend yourself. Can't give you the abilities that I have, but I can at least give you at least a basis of self-defense.
Okay. I mean, I run like hell.
You do. I would think it'd be
And
fun.
that is a handy trick to have in your bag. Sometimes you can't run. You have to fight. When that time comes,
I'm thin, but I'm not a wuss.
never said you were.
I can handle myself in a fight.
Excellent. I'm sure Mr.
Brand
Stoneford.
is brand.
Go ahead.
Right ahead.
I was gonna say, I'm sure between Mr. Stoneford, Brian, and Ray can get you fitted and sorted out.
Mm. Cool.
Miss Higgs may seem terrifying, but
Honestly, if I never have to see her again, that would be the best thing in the world.
well,
I don't know that that's happening, though.
Fortunately, we share a house with her. Never gonna be truly rid of her.
Right.
wow. I think at this point it'd be a good idea to start moving towards the diner. Let's see how you can build up a, what's a good term? Environment?
Or
Let's see how Mr. Walker manages to steward the people around him.
With the intention of doing what?
The intention is to see, I guess, how he handles domain, how he handles accountability and responsibility.
He has no idea what he's doing in that regard. So,
why don't you
instructing
see how
him-
he interacts with those that might become his food.
Mm-hmm. The kid is gonna need to stay fed.
right.
We need to implant the idea of how he can start doing that.
Okay.
My idea, and what I'm hoping when Ray gets back, what I'm hoping can happen, is that he can start functioning in the diner beneath Ray, start building that up, see if we can get that flowing.
Okay. That was started last episode.
Yeah, Ray started that?
Yeah.
Cool. I haven't talked to Ray then. So maybe I'll give him the park. Maybe. Actually, let's give him the park. He runs.
Okay, so he's not in a position where he needs to feed right now, so he's not gonna go hunting.
Cool. All right.
Well, he did say he can handle himself in a fight.
Mm-hmm.
Brian would like to find out just how well.
So are you gonna actually start taking swings at the kid?
Not to harm him.
Brian, the last time you started taking swings at any of us, you wanted to double down on. I have not forgotten that.
I mean, every time.
Yes.
No, Brian wants to see what he can do. We're in the park. We're in the middle of the park. So why not? That's what the kid can do. He says he can handle himself in a fight.
I have a question, actually.
Mm.
Mr. Walker, do you know how to rig up? Do you know how to rig up cameras?
Yeah, that's easy.
Perfect. Then I have a good plan for you. The idea is pretty simple. I want you to supply you with the means, speak with Mr. Stoneford, make sure that he can double up on that. In terms of financing for it, we'll get you some parts. We'll have you start putting up some security cameras.
Why not just tap into the existing, like, traffic camera grid?
Can you do that?
Oh, well, I can find out.
That's one way. But why
I mean, I'm good with
limit
computers.
yourself to all of what humans have put out there when you can put your own that nobody knows about?
Yeah, but security cameras need a power source. They need batteries or some shit, and you need something that can record the data without, getting interrupted or whatever. You need like home security shit, but that is going to require like an internet connection.
Sounds like a project.
So if you want to set up like Ring cameras, like you can get a set of 4 for like $500.
I think it would be ideal to get a system started. Maybe you can handle, well, the tech-savvy part of that. I'll flash the idea to Mr. Stoneford. He'll speak with you more about it.
Like, you want like a miniature server? I can build you one. I wasn't going to school for IT just for shits and giggles.
It sounds excellent, actually. Well then, Mr. Walker. You get that figured out. You'll have your first little taste of responsibility on that.
It's gonna take a little time, but yeah.
With that, a little bit of leeway to be making your own rounds.
And with that, I think we're gonna take a quick break. And when we come back, we're gonna figure out what Maria's been up to. So don't go anywhere, everyone. Welcome back, everyone, to San Antonio by Night, Season 3, Episode 5. Maria, after having worked on her truck to get things a little bit more in order, maybe do some much-needed maintenance, some little this and that with it, with the aid of Nicole, she set out to the little church out on the fringes of Marjani's domain. It's mostly a deserted place, mostly out of the way. Kind of doesn't really show up on anyone's radar, as this is a kind of remote section of the city just inside the outer loop. Maria's picked up Dave and Sammy, and the four of them have made their way out here. And when you all arrive outside, she kind of quirks a brow at you. So you've been setting up a base out here?
Something like that.
I thought this was just like a one-time little hidey hole that you had.
Well, given on how long we exist, you think we might be working on long term. How you doing, Sammy?
I'm good. How you been?
Exhausted.
Understandable.
So I figure I get to work on something that's my own.
Personal project kind of time?
Was told to get right with myself. Times were when, in moments of incredible spiritual distress, one would end up taking time to help craft something of their own communities, of building up a church or place of worship.
Mm-hmm.
I was told by a pastor once that is a tradition as old as time, and while the figureheads may change, or what you constitute as a place of worship may do so, the principle remains the same. There's something fundamentally human about it.
I wasn't a particularly religious person until I met Marjani.
Well, at the very least, you understand its importance.
It kind of helps frame what it is we are, in a sense.
Well, much like ourselves, I think there would be something to be said about bringing a dead church back to life. Are you hungry at all?
No, I'm fine. You?
I have my feet in the basement if needed.
And Dave and Nicole are just kind of there watching a little bit. Not entirely sure what to make of all of this.
I notice that they're trying to be patient with me, so I get to. The three of you, I think, are enough to be able to make a place uniquely our own. See, when it comes down to it, we collectively don't have much to end up going on. So I thought we'd start with something that is sacred, traditional. Something as old as when people worship the sun. Who knows? Maybe we'll end up being able to do some good with all the horrors that we've brought upon the world.
It doesn't hurt to be repentant.
One can hope. Mr. Ramirez, I had promised you a new start.
Yeah, you did. I wasn't sure what that was going to entail.
Well, as it stands, you have fostered a want to end up assisting those who ended up having such difficulties amongst the street.
Yeah. I feel like they're my own.
So I give you the tools to be able to serve them. And they're more than just a few cans of baked beans and enough cash to buy a cheap bottle of whiskey. You know what it is, so I'm willing to give you the opportunity. Help me bring this to life. And I'm pretty sure we'll be able to end up making a large portion of those donations be able to go exactly where they need to. Nicole,
Uh-huh.
they always believed in it, miracles. I
Yeah.
want you to help me make one.
Okay. You've always been my personal miracle worker.
And thus I try and end up living up to that. Trying to make the impossible possible. Sammy, there's no grounds for any of me seeing the entirety of the city. Even if it's just old rickety church out on the edge of where no one really cares. I'd like to end up giving it to you. A home, so to speak. Within the house of God himself. Well protected.
You see a pair of lights flash open just as you say that, and a figure step out of the vehicle. That'd be all well and good if it wasn't something that doesn't belong to you.
I wasn't aware you were in ownership of God. How
Oh,
you doing?
I don't
Marjani?
own God. I don't own God. But I have been keeping an eye on this place. You know, as I do. Given that it's my domain. And a second figure starts to come out of the vehicle as well.
Well, don't that just make all the lords the saints?
So what you doing out here?
Expressing my right to end up being able to end up gathering with those of like-minded individuals in a house of worship.
Right.
And Sammy would end up telling me you understand something about that.
I can appreciate that. But this ain't in your territory.
Funny thing, is that really all you came here to say?
Maybe. I'm curious. Ain't gonna lie.
You're curious. That's good. That's often how one finds God. First through curiosity. So let me entertain an idea to you, Marjani. Right now, what does your domain have, really? You have us.
I do.
But you also have a large amount of individuals who have lost all manner of hope, all flooding in from various parts of the city, being forced into here. It seems like everybody's just dumping their trash in your backyard.
It certainly seemed like it, don't it?
And as far as I can tell, the Iconoclasts are the only ones who've actually tried to do something more with it. More than just petty gotcha games, more than just vengeance.
Mm-hmm.
I also noticed you didn't come alone. See, I recognize Miss Ramirez there. She quickly takes a Dave. Go back to Skyler. I hope that the evenings have been treating you well, Miss Ramirez. Might I offer you both something to drink?
Drink. Skylar just kind of cocks her head at you. You mean from these two? She kind of points to Nicole and Dave.
No. See, I put a little bit of a stash out here so I can get to work and not have to do a whole bunch of back and forth. Practicalities of the work to come.
Right. So, first off, you come in here and don't think I hadn't noticed that there's some kind of magic hoogity boogity going on in here. Not to mention that I hear the moaning. I've been out here a couple of times. So again, why are you putting things in a church in the middle of nowhere in a part of the domain that ain't yours?
Because it is in the middle of nowhere. First and foremost.
I didn't give you permission to do that.
We didn't end up giving permission for Veronica to end up showing up in the first place, nor did we end up giving it to Jude, who just happened to show up, or his sire, who happened to just step on through. To get to our domain, they need to come through yours. Did you permit that?
You're on the fringes of the domain.
That's right. And this is
on
a
the
fringe.
interior.
What I'm saying here, Marjani, is we can do this back and forth, right? But that's not why you came out here. You would have come out here, said, I'll burn this place to the ground before I see it because it ain't worth near bupkis to me, but make sure you know your place. That would be worth it. You didn't. Instead, came out here with Miss Ramirez, who, between you, Ramirez, Sammy, and me, we have a storied history. We're not strangers to each other.
No, we are not.
So what I'm saying to you is, maybe the question we should be asking ourselves is, how does this benefit you?
How does it benefit me, Miss Higgs?
Glad you asked. You been around the neighborhood lately? Official neck of the woods?
Down in your neighborhood?
Yeah.
I noticed it's getting
A little crowded?
little crowded. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what crowded also means?
breeches.
Means we don't go hungry.
Nah. I was meaning, you never did tell me that Brian now lives there.
I was led to believe that you'd prefer to end up dealing with Faust and Noel.
They never stopped by.
So now that's my responsibility.
No, I'm not saying it's your responsibility. I'm saying
I
nobody.
stayed out of your hair for quite some time trying to end up doing right by you. You might end up having a few memories of the fact that I end up going out of my way to make sure you were informed, even when you wanted nothing to do with me and keep me at more than arm's length. In fact, given the fact that you and me have some unspoken hostilities, I've actually been quite amicable, I think is the term.
I wouldn't go so far as to say hostilities. I ain't got no problem with you. It was just side I had a problem with. It was the side that Skyler had a problem with. But now, your side is part of my dog. And she points over to Samantha. Now part of my daughter.
Makes us both invested in our upbringing.
Mm-hmm. We're co-parents.
So let's talk about our shared daughter and the godmother. She looks to Skylar.
And
Tell me, outside of the Iconoclasts, is there any place tidy of this city that the second Zamisi don't know their teeth from their elbows? If they show up, what do you think happens?
well, we ain't had any Zamisi aside from you show up not knowing their ass from their elbows.
And look on how that turned out.
Ended up leading the sire right to us.
I'm trying to end up making sure that that doesn't become a necessity.
You expect that there was more buried out here?
I expect there's more to come.
From where?
Don't know yet. But I'll say this much. We live forever. Which means it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
Okay, suppose you're right. This is what? That's what you want to create? Some kind of safe haven for dragons?
I want to make a place where those who need to find God can do so. And those who need to end up there finding a reason to fall on their knees, pleading for forgiveness by the Lord, have an apt reason to do so. The side benefits, though, might be the thing that you want to end up hearing about. Blood on tap.
Blood on tap.
The ability to end up having the actual soldiers that can do more than just a punk with a gun. The ability to have a little bit more insight. You're a spiritual individual. You would know on how important these little places are. And think on what it would say. The ministry assisted in building back up the spirit of San Antonio. Look at this church fallen to ruin. Faith has no place anymore in San Antonio, Marjani. But without faith, what are you? I think a little bit of a spiritual revival might be in order.
And you're the one who's gonna lead this spiritual revival.
No. I think he is. She looks over at Dave.
Him?
A man who's lost everything, and yet he has an opportunity to truly be born again, in the quite literal sense.
In that very Zemisi kind of way, yeah?
It gives him a second chance, and let's be honest, Marjani, I think all of us, if we could, we'd punch that ticket in a heartbeat. I think even you. She looks to Samantha. I think we all want that. Miss Ramirez, would you be opposed to such an idea? Of having a second chance of some kind? A do-over?
I would make sure that Diego never left my sight. But that's only one of many regrets.
I'm no pastor, but I seem pastor material. And I think myself more than anybody, since you're obviously asking what do I get out of it. I get my soul, Marjani. With all the miracles I've been providing night after night, each bit costs a bit of my soul. And I feel it. You can probably see it in my eyes right now.
You definitely look it, woman. You've been falling into temptation that much. Been a good little set tight.
That ain't temptation. You and I have been warned enough to know what the next step is.
That would do.
I don't want that, and you sure as hell don't want that headache.
No, I don't.
So I'm trying to end up finding a way to make it amicable. This is what I need. But I think part of you knows that's what you need too. Have I said anything wrong as of yet?
I'm still wondering what you're thinking I'm gonna get out of this. Blood on tap, sure. It's a little out of nowhere, though. Ain't no real information coming through these parts.
Funny thing about confession, isn't it?
Funny thing, that, I suppose. But how you gonna get people coming this way to come to this church? Haunted by the moaning of the whatever sacks you got laying in there.
That I can fix. But I have an apostle who knows that this place houses true miracles. You see, the crippled can walk again. Those who've been horribly disfigured, their wounds healed to subtle scars. Those whose hands were as healers, crippled by a horrible tragedy, suddenly able to bring people back from the brink again. You'd be amazed on how far people will go for a chance at a miracle. And what are we if we're nothing more than miracle workers? We're walking miracles.
Sounds like something off a televangelist show.
Except you and me know it's not coming out some individual's backside. You know it's fact. This is not an if. It's not a maybe.
Alright, say I buy it. You just want to be left alone? Is that what it is?
That's what I wanted from the jump. I wouldn't be in this position if I wasn't having to run around. Just
'Cause I
leave
know
the
you're-
dragon in a castle.
I know your types. Your homebodies. And eventually Sammy's gonna want us to settle down somewhere home. Same as you.
And I'm not gonna take her away from my mama, now am I?
I would hope not. So long as you still come to church. And maybe pay a little bit of rent. That's all I ask.
Just so long as you end up coming to church once in a while.
Oh,
Offer your own spiritual insight, shall we say.
oh, believe me, I'll be coming. I'll be coming to check on you every now and again. You know that.
I wish you would have done so more often and sooner.
I-
Else my face wouldn't look like this. But I don't blame you.
I know, I think you do.
That I want to insight.
What are you intending to learn?
I'm trying to gauge how she thinks. She made that comment that Maria blames Marjani, but
Mm.
that's not the case. But what is the line of thinking?
Okay.
All right, I can't roll, so I gotta pop
Yep.
out some dice.
Eat some dice.
I am at hunger.
You can try your sheeting and see if it'll work.
I just did.
Oh, okay. Boo.
Okay. A huge dice pool, but it's a start. That is 4 successes, 1 hunger 7, 1 regular 7, and 2 9s.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. She is. Well, she's pretty much an open book. Yeah, she's pretty much an open book. She gets the distinct feeling that based on the comment that you made, that the comment that you made about you having wished that she had visited sooner, you wouldn't have turned out like you had. But by saying that comment, you do blame her. Regardless of what you said after. It's like she knows you're gaslighting her.
And yet, that's not the case.
Otherwise, you wouldn't have said anything.
No, it's quite literally a wish, much like Skyler saying that she wouldn't have let her child or leave her side.
Hmm.
But I can imagine Maria's face is very difficult to end up showing a certain degree of empathy.
Yeah, that could be part of it.
She looks at Marjani. This is a house of worship, and God is forgiving. And for us to transcend ourselves, we must look past ourselves. God forgives. While we may be damned, I can at least try and live up to the example.
That's always been the message of Jesus Christ, isn't it?
I
Forgive them,
acknowledge,
Father, for they know not what they do. And all of that.
like I said, you'd be amazed on what people will do to go for a clean slate. This here is my chance to build a new life. For you to have a place where not a lot of people go, but people can hear you. I imagine, what do you think? You standing on that podium and everybody in your domain sitting in their pews listening to your every word. Being
Might
the
upset
spiritual
Clara.
state. Might.
To be quite honest, she could use a little competition in the world.
You like that idea, don't you?
I may like other ministries, but can't help but want to tempt her to be a little rambunctious.
But you attempt.
With snakes in the grass. Little devil sometimes. The devil on your shoulder that's meant to make you think. Never intended any harm, I'm sure. But meant to make you think. At least, that's how the ministry of San Antonio operate.
What about you?
That's how I operate.
Then let's bring back the dead. Shade looks up at the church. We are in the house of the Lord. Place of miracles. Looks to Nicole.
Nicole just kind of smiles at you winningly.
Place of second chances. Place to unburden that which haunts you. She looks at Ghana. A place where an elder's wisdom, not command, is listen. So that we may end up learning from our mistakes and pushing past them. And pass that wisdom to those younger before. She looks to David. And a place for the damned that they can go home.
Now, your Iconoclasts gonna be part of this too.
Only if you want it. This is kind of me on my own. Church was a good place to keep people hidden for a while, a long while. But unlike the rest of them who don't understand the matters of faith, to me, I've been starved in it. And I can't exactly go looking in like this in a church, packed to the brim. How can I?
Suppose not.
It's like a slow bit of poison you keep taking every night, trying to end up finding some place where you can alleviate it, but no, you just keep taking it over and over. Maybe it's more like a desert. And I think I might make this place into a small oasis. It also means you can end up keeping an eye on me easier, which means I'm less trouble for you.
That's an advantage. But what about what about them others? What's your take on them? Not that you'd sway my opinion or nothing, but
I'm as guarded with them now as I am with you, and you are with me.
you ain't getting along too well, huh?
I'm done going out of my way trying to end up making sure everybody else is happy, or that I don't step on the wrong toes and just sit there starving, hoping that somebody will end up coming and do something. Waiting, but nobody coming. Figure if I'm gonna go, might as well start doing something.
And Maria, that's about when your phone rings. And it is Brian's number, as you would know it.
1 second. Hello. Brian, reception's kind of staticky. What's going on?
Yeah, evening. Austin and I are gonna be heading over to Marjani's with Noah. Where you could meet us there.
1 second. She covers the phone. Actually, it looks like the crew wants to meet up with you tonight.
Oh, goody.
They're on their way to your place right now. Asked if I wanted to tag along.
We can all go. Well, anybody you don't want to just drop off here.
I presume that means we're in agreement.
Fine by me.
Yeah. She goes back to the phone. Brian, I will be there at Marjani.
See you there.
She hangs. Well, I'm gonna quickly unload some lumber out of the back of the truck just to reinforce and what have you. David, picked up a cot. I know it's not much right now, but it's a roof over your head. You ever worked with tools before?
I know my way around a hammer and nails.
Good, because we're going to have to end up doing some renovation. Cole, take notes. David is one hell of an educator. Sammy?
Yeah.
Did you pray for us both?
Sure.
Man, keep an eye out on them. I'm still putting up the details, but she walks by David and puts a hand on his shoulder. I do recall that figure right there was the son of a carpenter. Trying to imagine what it would have been like if he was your boy. Building his house. She
Sure enough.
She starts to walk towards Marjani. I appreciate coming with you. I'll be back soon enough, you three. And Miss Ramirez.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate you coming down.
She starts to approach you closer. And she leans into you. And speaks quietly. If anything happens to him, I will kill you. Make no mistake.
You promise in the name of the Lord in his house.
Yes.
I hope to see you during an evening's congregation. We'll talk near later and discuss his continuation.
Marjani and Skyler both go back towards Marjani's vehicle.
I'll get in the truck.
And the three of you head over toward Marjani's. And Nicole, Samantha, and David are left in the church. So we cut over to the Eye of the Tiger Sports Bar.
Coffee?
Yes.
I have work tomorrow.
Oh.
Pretty early AM.
Oh.
So I'm gonna have to request we cut it at midnight. It's midnight for me.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's a good place to end. It's a good cliffhanger.
Okay. Then yeah, we'll
They
come.
don't know that Maria's coming with Marjani, that they already know.
Yep.
Whole bunch of intrigue that you can pull from that.
Yep. Then we will catch up with our Iconoclasts there next week. In the meantime, we have, now that we have finished the session, we can do some experience and things.
This works. Also, part of it is because I kind of want lethality to be here to introduce Noah as,
His
Noah
child.
with Mr. Stone.
You're an anarch. You don't need your sire to introduce you to the prince. But you want to know what? I like it because old habits die hard.
But yes, that is where we are as of right now. So we will pick up there next time. So our lovely iconoclasts, Brian, Maria, and Faust, congratulations. You have made it through another session. So in that regard, you can recover willpower if you fulfilled your desire or work towards your ambition. So who did?
I'm still on the same desire. I'm thinking of changing it for next session.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's a thing. Also, you're echoing really bad, Mojo. I'm hearing the Roll20 music going on through your microphone. Okay, I'm getting the poll started for our audience favorites. So be sure to post who it is that you would like to give a bonus experience to, because we are moving on to experience for this. So each of my players that showed up today gets 1 experience.
Yup.
And then we do bonus experience where the each of you, my players, votes on who had the best scene, who moved our plot the furthest, and who had the best line for tonight. So, and this is very similar to the way that our good friend Macabre Derek, who plays Maria, does so in his chronicles. So, who moved plot? Also,
Maria.
thank you so much for follows, everybody.
I'm gonna have to say Maria.
Maria.
Unanimously,
Maria.
Maria.
Yep.
Yep. Specific reasons or different reasons, or what are we thinking here?
She set the stage. Whatever Faust puts in next is just... Honestly, it's Kush. I imagine it's
The
going to be
good
Kush.
The good Kush.
Yeah. Marjani's just going to be like, well, fuck. Guys have been actually doing something useful.
Maybe.
It only cost her 3 points of humanity.
Jesus. Gross.
Only 3.
Bad.
Yep, she started at 7. She's at 4 now.
Yeah.
Wah, wah.
Um,
So who had the
I
best
will-
scene?
Brian, specifically because of I punch a light post. That is way too many successes. Gotta
Fuck, yeah, we had...
specifically used to reduce the success pool.
Yes, I decided to make it a little bit of a challenge in that for that particular role, Composure and Brawl was aiming for less successes being better.
I love it.
Because there's no way that a light pole's going to defend on a damage pool. So yes, if you want to cause less damage, that's less successes.
Well, that's one way to interpret it. But I
Yeah.
laughed at that. That was pretty good.
It's a clever way to use the smaller successes, and I feel pretty proud of myself for that one. But yes,
Sometimes you just gotta go. This makes
that
sense
roll.
to me.
This makes sense. This roll makes sense. This roll and this number of successes makes sense.
Light pole should not be there anymore.
Yeah, let's just hope that nobody takes a picture of. Why is there literally a fist indent in here?
Oh, you know.
Otherwise, that 8 successes on a
Holy
crit would
shit!
have
You
been.
went Canadian. Oh, you know.
Oh, you know.
Yeah.
Wet bull Newfie.
Otherwise, it would have been 8 successes on 5 dice.
On a crit, yep.
Yep.
8 successes on a crit. You would have destroyed all of it.
Like Faust said,
Like full on
See-
chop the thing in half with your hand.
if he wasn't holding back, there would be a crater.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yep.
He is literally the define of I live in a world made of cardboard.
Yep. Brian is the X-Acto knife against cardboard. The box cutter against cardboard.
Oh boy.
So I think Brian gets that one. I'm gonna give the best line though to Faust.
Oh, what's Faust's best line?
Faust's introduction, quoting Sun Tzu. That's close to my heart.
Oh,
That's close to my heart.
It's
Sun
so
Tzu in my mind is one of the 3 books you have to have read at some point to understand some of the best ways to play vampire for the political side.
mm-hmm.
Thank you.
It's definitely a thing I should look for quotes for, because that's a thing that I probably need to do.
Sun Tzu, Rules of Power, and The Prince.
Mm-hmm.
2 of those I have actually went ahead and read. By Derek's recommendation. Well, Sun Tzu I wanted to read anyways, but...
Mojo, what do you think for best line?
I concur with Derek that whole art of war.
Thank you.
Reference. Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, you get it. Faust.
Yay!
Whether you wanted it or not.
Yay! I wanted it. It's okay.
Perfect. Then it's unanimous. It's on Faust. The audience poll is still going, so that all of our lovely viewers, regardless of how long you've been watching, thank you so much for anybody who's followed and rated coming into the stream today. So, before we finish up the experience portion of this particular session, I did want to make the official announcement on this channel, because I haven't yet, that we will be concluding San Antonio by Night Aftermath relatively soon. It's probably going to be another couple of sessions at least. But after that, we will be moving on to take a look at a little section of history in which we will be going back to the year 2014 in a little city known as Jackson, Mississippi, in which we will be telling the tale of a coterie on the front lines of a war against the anarchs that ties into the lore of San Antonio by Night. So if you have any indication of any inclination of what we're going to be talking about, you can go ahead and check out our YouTube playlist. And does my commands not work right now? What the fuck?
Nothing's working. The internet is broken.
The internet is broken. Good job.
But as
Oh,
mild
this-
spoiler, it ends badly.
Mild spoiler, it ends badly.
True.
We as players and storyteller do know the ending to which this chronicle will end. However, how we get there is still a story to be told. So, we will be joining Dana Rain, Liv DeAngelis, Mercy, Malice, and Rodney Drummond in their struggles against the anarchs of Jackson, Mississippi, in a war in the chronicle titled War in the Soul City. And that will be our next chronicle going forward after this one concludes. So, be ready to jump in on that one. You don't need to necessarily know any of the lore of this chronicle going in, because it'll be a jump from the past. So, feel free, anybody who's newly followed and everything, to jump in on that. I'm trying to find my commands to see if I can get my damn VOD list. Here it is. Because I do post on YouTube. There it is. I just had to log into Streamlabs first. So, check us out on YouTube, and I definitely also have a Discord. So we do all the announcements and stuff on there too. So check all of that out. So, yeah, we're excited. We're excited for a new chronicle coming up fairly shortly. So I hope you all are too. And
Oh, yes.
yes, I know I'm excited.
True.
Bro.
I've been working so hard on the background shit.
I have been deep in Mercy's mindset. Hi, I'm going to be playing Mercy. Deep.
Yes. Deep.
Will be Malice.
Yep. And Derek will be playing
Don't know
Dana.
why it is that now I have to deal with it on an out of character level, and suddenly now I got to deal with it in character level when I'm dealing with Mercy. Now I got it squared.
Also, Derek's cats are named Malice and Mercy. You're welcome.
Yes, it was on purpose. Okay.
It was unintentional for me, and
Purposeful on
became the running
Spectre's
joke,
part.
So
Here's
Gonna
Mercy
go with
right
it.
here.
The audience favorite vote is almost over. Get those last minute votes in because it is tied, everybody. Do not tie it up, because if we tie it up, there's the potential no one gets it. There we go. Brian, you get it.
Congrats, Brian.
Thank you, Ravenstar, for dumping 3,000 channel points into that.
Oh,
Thank you
thank
all.
you.
Thank you all so
First
much.
help command. No worries. I guess we'll wrap this one up quick then, just because.
Yes.
Yeah,
Is there
specs
any?
have gotta go.
Is there any expenditures quickly before we want to jump off?
No, I'm too experience short from getting up there. I've been banking experience a lot to try and end up getting up there, but I'm hoping to end up doing Animalism 3 because I think that's going to work incredibly well for an abandoned church and gives me more excuses to work with animalism.
For sure. Yeah, definitely. Well, we only have one real shout out, unless Spectre, you have something coming up in the pipe. But
No, just working on your stuff, man.
Working on my stuff, man. But Derek, go ahead and give us an idea where we can find you and what you're going to be up to.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I am Macabre Derek, and I run Vampire the Masquerade on Sunday, Edmonton by Night, Blood Sands. You can also end up catching me Mondays on my channel, where I end up running a Vampire the Masquerade workshop, which is literally meant to end up helping all of you who may be just coming into the gaming, coming back into the game, maybe your first time ST, maybe you're just getting into your first Chronicle. Maybe you enjoyed the game for a long time and wanted to end up having somebody to chat with and join the enthusiasm of the game. Tuesday through Thursday, though, I also do drawing on the Macabre, and this month we have been trying to catch up on our Goretober pieces. If you like something a little bit more bloody and visceral, come see me. I also do commissions for a living, so if you're looking for any comic book art style commissions, which you will end up seeing when we end up getting War on the Soul City, well, come on by and we can discuss a few things. We'll see you all later.
Yes, thank you all so much for watching, and thank you so much, Raiders, from the what channel? Oh, Caffeinated Conquests. Caffeinated Conquests. Thank you so much for the raid. We are just finishing up, but if you guys want to stick around and find out more about what we've been up to, you can go always check out our VOD list, and exclamation point SABN will get you everything that you need to do that. And you can always check me out, as I am also an artist and a storyteller, obviously, because I'm playing Vampire the Masquerade. You can always check out all of my stuff on CoffeeCatPresents.com, and that's where you'll find just about everything we do here. So, with that being said, my players, say goodnight to our lovely chat.
Good night, everyone.
But everyone.
I'll be the death of us all! The death of us all! The death of us all!
Good night, everybody.